Hello, everybody. I wanted to jump on really quick because I just realized that I have a question to answer for you. I had put up a quiz question a couple of weeks ago. The question was, how many sensory systems do we have? And then I'm doing other things, and I realized I never got back on here and gave you the answer. So I wanted to do that really quick. So the correct answer to that question is 8. We actually have 8 sensory systems. I had several people write back in and give it a go, and there was a lot of 5, a couple of 7s, which is also really close. So I'm going to really briefly run through them for you, and then I'm going to tell you why that's important to know, especially as a parent or as a teacher, as we view our kiddos through different lenses. So of course we have our basic 5. We all know that and had lots of 5s. We learned those in school. So that's going to be your vision, your hearing or auditory, your olfactory or smell, oral, which is your taste, and then you have tactile, which is your touch. So you got your basic 5. Then we have 2 combination senses. And literally all that does is take 2 of our primary or our basic 5. No, not even 2. 2 or more. And it puts them together so that we can communicate to our brain more effectively. So for example, number 6 would be vestibular. And that is if you take your eyes and your ears and you link that information together, that tells you where your head is, and speed and direction and balance. So all of those things between these 2 senses work together to communicate if I am spinning in a circle, if I am sitting upright, if I'm falling down, if I'm in danger of falling off of something, those sorts of things. It also affects your balance for walking and mobility. And then number 7 is going to be proprioception. And that is literally if you just draw a line across the middle of your neck, anything below that. So that's your body sense. And that is where you take your touch system and you make that a little more detailed. And that's going to be your muscles, your ligaments, your bones, like all of those interactive systems for your main part of your body, how they interact with your touch system to tell you how much force is needed to do something, how much speed you need, how far away from something you are. So there's kind of always this reading of your environment. And so that's really important to know. And that's proprioception or your body sense. So that gives us our 7. And then the last one, number 8, is called interoception. And that one's actually not too old of an identified sense. It has been added since I was in school. And so I'm very excited that they have added this as a direct isolated sense or a sensory pathway in the brain, because I think that gives us more information about how our kiddos' bodies or even our own are interacting with our environment and each other. So interoception is literally the ability to take an internal sensation and read what it means to your body. So let me give you 2 examples. One would be my stomach is growling. That means I am hungry. Now I can ask for a snack, or I can go and get a snack. The second would be if my mouth is dry, or you have that uncomfortable, like sticky feeling in your mouth, that sensation inside my body would mean I am thirsty. And then I know that I need to ask for a drink or something to quench my thirst. So why are these things important? Why would it be important for us to understand the body reaction, the head reaction, the internal sensation reaction, and how those all communicate together? When we're looking at our kiddos, there are a lot of things that we're going to require from them as they learn and become more independent. We want them to communicate their wants and needs. We want them to be adequate at choice making. We want them to be able to interact with peers with appropriate body position and personal space. We want them to create balance in their system so that they are fully mobile. So all of those things require a lot of sensory interaction and balance to be happening. And so what we can do when we're looking at a kiddo that seems to be struggling on a behavior side, so we're hitting, we're biting, we're standing on tables, we're jumping off of things that could be dangerous or scary. We don't know how to interact with friends because of sound. We may be sensitive to touch, and so we become very withdrawn, or we become defensive. So you're seeing some of these behaviors. You also have the kiddos that don't quite know how to read that interoception. And an old approach that was really common was just to look at the inability to communicate wants and needs as either communication or cognitive delay. And what an interoception lens gives us is the ability to see that our kiddos may have the ability to make a choice, and they might be able to communicate that beautifully. But if they don't understand what that sensation means from the inside, then they can't get to step 2. So really the addition of interoception to that list of senses gives us the ability to help our kiddos start with step 1, and that is self-identification, which is so important. So when we're looking at behaviors, that gives us a way to identify a difference between an actual outlashing behavior or a meltdown or a tantrum, and to see if there is maybe a system that's out of sync that we could bring in some really nice techniques for to regulate, and then our kiddos can have more success in the long run. So I wanted to make it very brief for you guys. There's our 8, basic 5, 2 combinations, 1 internal. Can sound complicated, and it can be for some kiddos, but it's really great if we can partner up together, look at our kiddos from a different lens, and help them have some great success. So wanted to make sure you got the answer to that question. Sorry for a long delay. I hope this was helpful for somebody out there. Have fun watching your kiddos this weekend. See what you think, what system leads their interactions and their preferences. It's kind of fun to look at kids from that viewpoint. So I hope you guys have a great weekend and a happy Friday. Thanks for joining. Bye.